real freedom isn't safe, but nothing keeps you safe now. Police can't protect you. That's still your job, no matter how many police you have, no matter how much military there is. It always comes down to how can you protect yourself? We don't, in the world stage, we cause a lot more problems. I say we, but the country, the United
Right.
States, causes a lot more problems than it helps. That's for sure. And I think people have just gotten this idea that governments keep them safe when governments are actually predatory upon them. It's a product of indoctrination, that's for sure.
It definitely is a product. Like it's 100% a product of indoctrination. We posted a meme. I'm not sure which one of us posted the meme. If I had to guess, it was Mr. Murica, the bearded truth, that posted it. Just guessing, but it said something, and I'm gonna have to paraphrase because this is just coming off the top of my head here. But it said something about how could AOC is trying to turn us into a socialist nation, and how do we stop this? And it said, conservatives, stop spending money to send your kids to schools where they teach socialism. And we had people, and our page is, we're libertarian anarchists, depending on which one of us you're talking to at that moment. Sure. And we had people defending the school systems and saying that it's necessary. And it's like, their indoctrination camps is what they really are. Like,
yeah.
I don't care what you say. Like they are training the children to believe certain things. And a lot of it is that they're training the children to believe that their parents don't know what's best for them, but instead that the government does. So
yeah, they're based on the Prussian model, which was developed to teach factory workers. Like it's developed to teach obedience and belief in authority. Like that's where it starts, that you go here, you have to get up at odd hours and, spend your time away from your family and listen to this person who's in the stead of your parents in all these different ways. Just the actual way schools are, it perpetuates these kinds of ideas. They don't even have to say anything necessarily because the way the system is set up, it's set up to teach them those things. When a bell rings, this is what you do. And
right.
So not only is that bad, but there's so many things about the school system that are just not good developmentally for children. And everyone wants to, brush that under the rug because it's convenient, really. I mean, most parents, they want to send their kids to school so they don't have to be with them. And so... Well, and so and to work, it's right. Not that they don't love their kids.
I was gonna say, I don't know if it's that they don't want to be with them. I just think that it's it's a great babysitter for however many hours a day.
Exactly. And I mean, if you hear summertime, all the complaining about, I can't wait till these kids go back to school. Right. It's a learned habit that we've not learned. Many people, sad to say, don't really parent their kids anymore. I'd sound like an old fogey that way, but I'm, I have 2 kids and I homeschool them, and I believe in parenting, in real parenting, even as an anarchist. And, my parenting style has certainly changed. I used to definitely be an authoritarian before I became a libertarian. So my son, who's 8 years older than my daughter, was parented when he was young in a much different way than my daughter, but I see myself as a legitimate authority in their life. So I believe in natural authorities and not authoritarianism, which is different, right. But that's where you get the difference. I think a lot of people have decided that their work is much more important than raising their kids because they trust the system. They trust the system, or at least educating their kids. They trust the system to do that. And really, even when I sent my son, he went to public school until 4th grade. Even when I sent him there, I still understood that educating my child was still my responsibility.
Right.
So I still needed to know what he was doing and all those things. Because I don't believe in no personal responsibility. I think that, that's anarchism really is radical personal responsibility and radical freedom. Like they go hand in hand, and you you can have one without the other. If you have radical freedom and no personal responsibility, that's where you get the Mad Max scenarios that people are so worried about. But libertarianism certainly doesn't teach that.
Yeah, so many people, I'll talk to them and I'll start talking about anarchist ideas, and they say, "Well, we just care about people more than you." And I'm like, "No, no, or no, we just believe in people more than you." And I'm like, "No, you believe in government more than me. I
Right.
believe in people.
Exactly.
You believe in the power. I believe in the people."
Right.
And that's the big difference that I see in between definitions, because they're like, "Oh no, I believe in people." Well, yeah, but you hate that the government does this. You hate that the government does this. You talk about how corrupt the government is, and then for many of you, the answer is more government,
Right.
in order to oversee these people. So it's like it makes no sense to me.
Right. And it doesn't. And it really is. Anarchism is the radical belief that people can run their lives better than anyone else can, especially governments, with cookie cutter programs and violence and coercion.
Right.
It's really interesting that people would view it that way. And I've had people say to me so many times when they find out I'm an anarchist, "You better get ready for your neighbors to come, take your stuff and hurt you." And I'm like, they could do that now if they wanted to.
Right.
Like,
That
what do
that
you think
makes
the
no
police?
difference. The
I'm sorry.
that makes no difference. The fact that there's a law saying you can't break into your neighbor's house, steal all their stuff, and murder them
Right.
doesn't change the fact that people can still do it.
Right.
Like,
And yeah, laws don't stop bad people from doing bad things. They don't stop it now. With
right,
all the government in the world, they can't
exactly.
stop it.
Yeah,
So, there are no utopias. I know anarchism, a lot of times it is idealistic because it's not something that's concrete in the world right now in a lot of places. Although, as you and I would know that most people live anarchy every day of their lives, most of the day. It's just people don't understand it. We've had in that school system and the media, we've had the state in control of the definitions of anarchy for a long time. And so you get like, I mean, I love the Mad Max movies, don't get
oh
me
yeah,
wrong, but
that
that's what people think when they hear anarchy. They think, cannibals and, one group coming and taking over the less powerful group and things like that. And I'm not saying that wouldn't happen. There would be conflict still, but I think there'd be a lot less of it and on a much, much smaller scale.
yeah.
Hey, everybody. You know what's more fun than this?
Subscribing to us on YouTube.
Subscribing to our page.